Hi, welcome to Grimmfest 2025. I'm joined by quite a number of the team from I See the Demon, which has just had its international premiere at the festival. Welcome, guys. Thank you for being with us. Can you tell us who you are and what your role was on the film? Maybe start.
Yeah, my name's Jacob Lees Johnson. I was the co-writer and director, etc., on the film.
Hi, my name is Alexis Zollicoffer. I play Lucy.
My name is Noah Kershisnik. I play Ellis.
I'm Ashley Cook. I was the production designer and costume designer.
Mac Steele Foster, and I played Hazel.
Great, thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about the film?
Yeah, the film's a sci-fi psychological horror thriller. It's a bit of a lot of genres all in one. It's about an emotionally vulnerable young woman who comes home to a surprise birthday party that just starts off great, but then little things start to go a little bit strange, and the people around her just say, "Oh, everything's fine, everything's fine, everything's fine." But as the night wears on and things get weirder and a little more disturbing, she has to learn what she can trust, who she can trust, what reality she can believe, and all that sort of stuff.
To me, this film is like, what I loved about it was I felt like I was in an extended dream scenario. I felt like, which slowly becomes more and more of a nightmare, and you're trying to fathom out what is going on in this place. It all does get revealed eventually, but the journey to get there is a quite intense and scary process. Was that intentional to kind of give it this kind of dream feel to it?
Yeah, we definitely wanted it to feel very dreamlike and like not where the essential questions would be answered, and so you would walk away from it feeling satisfied with but you might still have some questions and feel a little confused, but in a good way, to where you can kind of make connections on your own and make meaning on your own, and because like a dream, not everything necessarily makes sense or
Exactly.
gets totally tied up. So
Yeah.
So there's imagery in there that doesn't have any particular definitive meaning that I'm not going to come down and say this is what this means or whatever. So we wanted it to be understandable but open.
Tell us a little bit about how you guys in the cast got involved with the film.
So I got an audition through my manager, I believe, and did the audition and didn't really think anything of it because I was filming other things. And I honestly, as an actor, I don't try to think about what I've done for auditions because 95% of the time you don't hear anything back ever. And so I just was living my life, filming other films, and then got the call back. Initially did send an email saying, "I'm so sorry, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm very tired and I'd like to actually do nothing and just focus on school for a couple of months." And then my manager came back and was like, "Just meet with them. Here's the script. Here's the pitch deck." And we sat on the phone and spoke for about 30 minutes. And then I was like, okay, you know what? Yes, the script is great. The pitch deck looks awesome. And I really want to be a part of it.
And how did you go about stepping into this character? Because it's a tricky one, because I don't want to give anything away in the film because there's a big twist in this film, and we probably shouldn't give it away in this Q&A. But it's like you don't really know, your character doesn't really know what's going on for a big part of the film until it's all revealed. How did you embrace that from a character point of view?
I made sure not to work too far ahead. I would read the script every day, just like I would be reading a book. But then when it came to what scenes we were doing, I made sure that I read the scenes before, like right before, and then that scene, and then where we were when we headed. So when I would go into each scene, I knew the state that I was in before I came in, and then where I was going to end up at the end of it, even past, cut. So I really wanted to make sure that I always existed in a live state of mind when it came to where Lucy was. And so it was a lot of reading the sides, reading my notes just over and over again, and just listening to music, and honestly praying and being like, okay, this is what we're doing, and I need to be open to what is going to happen next.
So almost in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, not making any decisions as
Yeah.
well. Just really just making sure I understand what's going to happen, memorizing the lines, and then just experiencing what was going to be. So everything felt as natural as possible.
How about you guys? How did you get involved?
I've known Jacob so we met at film school. But when I just got accepted into the program, he was just doing his capstone final thing. And I, at that time, was going to do art direction or art crew stuff and wardrobe. I like clothing a lot. So I was focusing on wardrobe, and I worked on his capstone, did wardrobe for that. Really loved working with Jacob. Then I sort of shifted focus in my life over the next few years and got into acting again, got back into acting. And so initially he said, and I just loved working with Jacob. So when he said, I've got this part for you, I was like, awesome. And I didn't read the script or anything. I just accepted it. And then he said, would you actually read for Ellis? It's a bigger part. And I read for it. He cast me. Then I read the full script. And then I was like, hell yeah.
And how about yourself?
Yeah, similarly, I've known Jacob for over a decade, and we've collaborated on previous projects. He sent me the script. I read it in one sitting, couldn't put it down, and it was a immediate yes for me. So
Very good. And tell us a bit about the design. It's a tricky one because you're saying that it's kind of set in the future, but you didn't want it to necessarily be obviously kind of stylized as an obvious futurist kind of environment.
Yeah. It's set in like the near future in kind of an alternate version of Earth, right? An alternate reality. So we knew we wanted it to feel not quite contemporary, but we still wanted it to feel very grounded. So I wanted to make sure that the design both in the set and the wardrobe was very textured and was, let's see.
Eclectic.
Yeah, eclectic. I think that was kind of the main idea. And then for the set, we loved the idea of retrofuturism and spent a lot of time talking about that, but we didn't want it to be too like Jetsons 60s. So but we liked the idea of like people from a certain time period imagining the future based off of the design of the time, right? So we kind of pulled elements from the 40s and the 70s and kind of made something new, but that still felt relatable. And yeah.
To me, it's like the ultimate brilliant indie, limited budget kind of movie. It's got a huge concept at the heart of this piece, but cleverly is quite contained in terms of the setting or settings. I'm guessing that was a deliberate choice because you had to work within certain budget limitations.
Yeah, and it was sort of a chicken and egg sort of thing where we knew we were going to have a constrained budget, so that led us to make certain choices to make sure that we were contained enough. But then that was also sort of the story that we wanted to tell anyway. So so it's almost like even if we had a huge budget, I would have still wanted to stay really contained and really small and claustrophobic in the house. And I just really
and it's a real character piece as well, isn't it? It's really about the peoples, and those performances and the interaction between all the characters.
There's some real claustrophobic elements of the story. So like I said, even bigger budget, you want to keep it claustrophobic feeling.
But the concept is so big that you don't really, that's revealed. I'm not going to give anything away. That makes it feel like a much bigger film than it is, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is a really clever achievement.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, it was it was really fun to be able to play with that. And speaking of making a science fiction film, I wanted to make a sci-fi that I hadn't seen before, and so instead of trying to focus on technology or making it really obvious. It was cool to say to create a world that was very different from ours and had kind of, you know, a really big scope, but then imagine that, well, what is the day-to-day experience like of anybody living in that world? And let's look into that and see what it would be like. So that was a lot of fun.
I always think when I'm talking to filmmakers about a film that a lot of people probably haven't seen yet, it's always a difficult thing because we're talking in great detail about the whole thing. It's like, what would you like to say that will you would like to tell people about it that will entice them to come and see this movie? How would you describe it in a way that will whet people's appetite? That's a tricky question.
It is a tricky question. I think what has been the most rewarding with showing it to people is they have experienced a really wide range of emotions. The very first time we screened it, someone in the audience was saying, I was really not expecting to be terrified 1 second, but then a few moments later to be crying, and having actual genuine emotion. And so I think it's a movie that's really rewarding. The journey of the movie is very rewarding and has, just really satisfying emotional arcs and has some good ideas and concepts to think about. So
I am a sucker for films that I don't necessarily know what's going on to start with. And I've got to really try to figure out what is going on. And those kind of films don't always pay off so well when you finally get to the reveal. But I'm a sucker for those kind of films. I love films that have got that mysterious element. But your film really does pay off. I mean, you go on this journey with it. You kind of, you really want to figure out it's scary, it's weird, there's strange stuff going on. But you're kind of driven to try to figure out what is happening. And you do discover, and everything pays off in the end in this film in a way that's really clever. So well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do we know when the film is going to get a release? Any information on that?
not yet. We have our sales agent who is working on securing deals around the world, but there's nothing set in stone yet. So we'll keep you posted.
I'm sure a lot of our audience in the UK and around the world would be really excited to know, when it's released. But congratulations on the film. It's an awesome film. And, you said that you shot this in 10 days.
Yeah, 10 days.
That's just incredible. And I just can't quite conceive how you managed to pull that off, because it's an amazing film.
Absolute miracle.
So well done. Congratulations. And thank you for being with us at Grimmfest.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much
so
for having
much.
us. We appreciate it.
Great.